Hi, good afternoon.
David, how are you?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now loud and clear. Good afternoon, Pastor
Good
Philip.
afternoon. How do you do?
I'm great. And you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
Fantastic.
So nice to see you finally,
Yeah, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
And thank you so much for accepting our invitation. We appreciate it so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Thank you very much for, setting up this platform, and thank you for reaching out to
Okay.
me. Um, so when do we start?
Are we starting? We're live already.
Oh, wow.
But before we start, let me just say a few things here.
Okay.
Uh, Good evening, viewers. Okay, good afternoon. We're in the afternoon anyway. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Thank you so much for tuning into our great series. And we have a guest, Mr. David Mbelu. I'm correct, right?
Yes, you are.
Okay. All right. So before we get to our topic of discourse, I'd like to say a few things here. All right. So I bring us all greetings, from the entire Fountain of Life Church, the Grace family particularly. So Bible tells us that in the book of Psalm, teach us to number our days that we may apply our hearts to wisdom. And of course, our Lord Jesus in John chapter 9, verse 4, says to his disciples, I must do the work of my Father while it is still the day. For the night cometh when no one can do anything. And also, John C. Maxwell, of course, we know quite a number of us are familiar with him, with his personality. He said, your success is dependent on your daily agenda or what you do every day. But let me put it to us this way. Our success is dependent on God and more importantly, on the things that we do today. So it's important that we make our today count, which informed our topic of discourse today. All right, so that said, I want to introduce our guest to us. His name is Mr. David Mbelu. Just a moment, let me just open this up so I can read it correctly. All right, so let me introduce David to us. David is the head of sales at Jobberman, Nigeria. A number of us must have applied at one time or the other in our lives, and many are still applying anyway. He is a consultant with experience in banking and HR consulting. He's a graduate from Covenant University, and he has a master's degree in he has his MBA, Master in Business Administration at the University of Liverpool in the United Kingdom. Aside this professional life, David spent his time in God's service. He is also an evangelist with a desire to the transformational power of God in his generation. He is a youth pastor at a tribe set apart, which is the youth arm of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Powerlink Chapel. So, Mr. David, that's just a brief profile that I have. I'm sure that it's certainly more than that. So, so let's just go quickly to our topic. How do I make my today count?
Okay.
How do I make it count for the
Future.
for the time that are beyond now? In
Now,
other
yes.
words, how do I make it count for my future?
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. I think for you to answer the question of how would you make it count for the future, it's also a function of what you do in the current or in the present, which is now. And
Okay.
what I want us to, really understand is the fact that at this, what would set people apart, you know, either in the workplace of the future or in any environment that we find ourselves in, it will be the ability to deliver excellence. Okay, so excellence would be what would set organizations apart. That same singular value would be what would set people apart. It will also be, you know, what, you know, people would actually look out for in an individual. So it's that in itself is a distinguishing factor. So what I would say is, post-COVID, we are going to be entering a dispensation of excellence. You know, in this time, you know, what we've seen so far in the past, you know, people do things, you know, normally, we do things ordinarily, we take things for granted. But what would happen, you know, in the next few weeks or the next few months will be that there will be a scramble for us to, you know, be better at what we do, to bring up more value in everything that we have, you know, we've started out. So if you have a business, it would mean that you have to think about ways to provide value for your customers in a way that you have never done before. It may be in form of innovation. You know, it may be you springing up something that they've never seen before, or it's just a simple improvement on what you've been doing. But one thing is sure, that, you know, excellence will definitely set you apart. And in saying this, aside just being in the world of business, you would also find that excellence in itself will also speak in the place of politics, also in science as well. You find out that global leaders will come up from, you know, places that, you know, we probably were not looking out for before. Probably an idea will set people apart, but it's important for us to know that what we do now would set the tone for what would happen in the future. And because, you know, a lot of the people who will be listening on this call or who are listening currently are either employed or job seekers who are looking to get a form of work, you know, over the next few months, it will be important for me to mention that, you know, in this time when you're locked in at home, it's important for you to get clear on what you want in terms of a job. What are you looking out for? And this starts from a place of looking at your life, looking in retrospect. What are the qualities? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What type of things do you enjoy doing? You know, the better you know yourself, the more likely you will find a job that provides you greater satisfaction. Okay, so it's not every job that you're, you know, that you apply for. You need to, you know, understand what keeps you, you know, excited, what keeps you going. You know, what is important for you? Is it a promotion? Is it going to be money? Is it just, are you looking for a job that gives you title? You know, are you even particular about a job that is located in a particular environment? Those things would actually matter in you having overall satisfaction. So I think it's very important that you know, get clear on the type of job that you're looking out for. Then also, before you even start to apply, while you've identified, you know, what you feel is important for you, you need to research on your companies that you're looking to work for. So I mean, thanks to the internet, we have so much information everywhere. You know, you can easily go online, read about the company that you're looking to apply to, look at what currently, you know, they have every year, or, you know, every annual, maybe biannually or so. Companies have different things that they are problems that they're trying to solve. You know, you need to look at what they are currently doing. Stay active. You know, you can also look at what, you know, how it feels to work in that company. So go to websites like Glassdoor, explore, you know, read about the culture of the organization that you're going into. You know, try and build a network of people who currently work, you know, within that company, because that would help you, you know, in having a feel of, you know, what it takes to be in that place. And, you know, it will help you, you know, even define whether you actually want to be in that kind of organization or not. So you don't just apply and then you finally get a job and you're dissatisfied. And also, one thing that is also important is the fact that we need to build networks. You know, at this time, you know, we're home. We are probably every now and then there's one podcast or maybe an Instagram live video going on. Try and, you know, look out for things that are of interest to you. Build a network around those topics, those people. Reach out to them if possible. people within your church as well, various organizations and social groups. I mean, just reach out to them, build a strong network, try and start off conversations, intelligent conversations that would, that would eventually lead to probably you saying that, getting to the place of, can you even be a mentor to me? Because I actually admire what you're doing, or a role model, whatever the case may be. So I think it's important that, we build our networks at this time, because that would also help us, in future. Then also, if you go on our company website and Jobberman, currently we have so many jobs listed up on that website now. So if you're looking out for a job, you need to tailor your CV. What I would suggest to do, you need to tailor your CV to the particular job that you're looking to apply for, and especially the roles as well, because you don't want to have a uniform blanket CV for every job that you're shooting out. So try and have different versions
I
of your
like that.
CV.
I like that part of having a uniform blanket of CV stuff like that.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's surprising. It's surprising because recruiters, they take out their time to design very beautiful, lovely job descriptions, and then people just go, they've not read through the job description, and then they just shoot out their applications. So it's important to actually look at the job description, try and align, try and make sure the story on your CV, because basically your CV is actually a story. It tells a story about who you are as a person. If your CV is not organized, they can I mean, if you're not an organized person, they can tell from your CV that you're not organized by the way your CV is structured. So you need to look into, arranging your CV in such a way that anybody that looks at it would, be interested in knowing and meeting the person behind the resume. So I think it's very important that, you spend quality time to design various versions of your CV. You can have 3 or 4 versions of your CV. And then if you see a particular job that is, that you feel that you have the skill sets for, then why not work on your CV, revamp it just so that you can make that application work for you.
all right.
Then
Before you
also,
go further, David,
okay,
since we're talking about job application and all of that,
yes,
I would like you to talk about the entrepreneurs in a way.
okay, okay,
Entrepreneurs, most of the time, they deal with proposals and profiles. All right.
yes,
They necessarily do not need to present their CVs, but their portfolio, maybe someone is bidding
yeah,
for a job, someone is doing someone.
yeah,
I need you to just, speak a little about that also, because, you said something about having different versions of a resume or a CV, as it were. It helps because not appropriate to just have a one CV for every job that you're applying for. And surprisingly, uh, you know, I found it interesting to know that even on your job website, you still have a job being listed, even at this time, when there's
yes,
been so much talk about people losing their job and all of that and all of that.
yes,
So, but that's not a discussion for today anyway. But
yeah,
I need you to talk about profile.
profile.
Is
Okay,
it
so
yeah?
basically, your profile as an organization also tells a story about what you've done.
Hmm.
So for someone that's starting off a new business, you probably should have, or you definitely should have some experience, or um, experience can come from the place of, you've taken courses around this new business that you're trying to do, and you're trying to,
Okay.
get your hands dirty by actually doing it. But then there's also the experience that comes, with you even trying it out, outside of paid work. So for example, you can volunteer to take up free jobs, just so that you can start off your business, knowing that you've gained experience while working and trying your hands on
Some
those
kind
things
of
for
some
free.
kind of internship, right?
Yeah, yes, either an internship or, volunteering your service. So for example, you want to start off an IT company and you're looking to design websites. How about you volunteer to, design a free website for your friend's business that is properly
Mm.
structured already? That will give you some form of visibility. Now, the thing is, he may not pay you for
Correct.
the service, but then it's experience that you can put on your profile. And then if you look at
Mm.
the the engagement, or the level of engagement on that website, that can also add, you can also tell a story about how, the business has improved, based on the website that you've built for your friend. So you've given your friend's business a global opportunity for him to sell his product or his goods. You understand? So you giving him that free service. You can also put it on your profile and say, okay, we are able, because of the website we designed, we're able to help improve the sales of my friend's company by X amount over a period of time. So it now helps you tell a different story. Why don't you project your business to a global audience? Why settle for being a neighborhood store when you can actually do more than that? Because in the workplace of the future or in business of the future, the globe in itself, every nation, every population is a potential customer for that business, for any business in the world. So it's a level playing field. You will find out that people that don't even have a brick and mortar business would be generating revenues far bigger than people that currently have stores, distributed all over a country or a nation, physical stores. And I'll give you an example. And I know some of you have heard about Primark and what has happened over the past 1 month. Last month, Primark is, a household retail shopping mall. They have physical, stores, but they don't have any online presence at all. So within the course of April, they had 0 sales, and this means the losses for that month was about 670 million pounds. That's a lot of money. Imagine a business that had, that's 670. That was in losses, and they've pretty much put all their staff on, stay at home just for this period, no pay, just so that they can, manage the situation. So, for example, somebody that had a small business, that has been selling has pretty much made more revenue than that particular business, within the short period of time. So I think the globe in itself is an opportunity for everyone. So why not? I think, it goes back to my point, try and volunteer to do things for people for free, just so that you can build that that profile of yours, in case you don't have any experience whatsoever in the task that you're trying to do. So it's important that you gain some experience. So I think,
and also, as we were, speaking about that, something came to my mind. Of course, I remember very vividly when I started out, when I finished from school and all of that, I did some kind of volunteering job, like internship. For me at that time, it was not about what they were paying me. Of course, they were giving me a stipend, just to cover my stuff and all of that. But I volunteered. Eventually, I worked in that company for a while, for about 7 years before I left to start out on my own, just from being an intern and all of that. So, would it be correct to say that rather than, in fact, it is not, you are not working for free, so to speak, because you can demand for some kind of recommendation letter and all of that. Am I correct?
Sure. You can ask for a referral.
Yes, which is more than you being paid for the job.
Of course. So you can even volunteer. If you volunteer to design 15 websites for different companies, and you've done that, you can ask them to give testimonials about the progress that the website has brought for their business, and this automatically helps you build your own profile, and gives you an opportunity to project your business to other businesses. Because
so it's a win-win situation at the end of the day.
Of course, because those businesses can actually refer you to other businesses like them, their vendors, their suppliers, down their value chain. They can actually refer you because you did it for them for free. So I mean that's really one place to start from. If you're an entrepreneur. Then also, I think on that I touched on another thing, which is every business should try as much as possible to have an online presence. It is very important. It's very important that they have an online presence, because imagine with what is going on now, we still have some businesses, small businesses left, right, and center that are running still in operation.
Yeah, some people are still making money. Interestingly, a guy sent me a payment invoice today for a service I rendered. Just about an hour or 45 minutes ago there, I just checked my mail and I saw an invoice for the services rendered yesterday.
People are still working, and their business is still going on. And then also to address the question of how come we still have jobs on our website. So what we've seen is that we started a campaign recently just to support businesses, especially at this time, with their hiring process, people that have needs to still function, either remotely or essential services. and we decided to make job listings on the website, or job postings basically free. So if you have an opening in your company, you can actually put it up for free as long as we can validate that you are a real company. Then we put it up, on our website. So we've seen that a lot of companies are either employing for now or they are building a talent pipeline for the future. So it means that
Talent pipeline.
yeah, for the future.
Key.
So they know it's very key because as soon as we come out of this period, business is going to return. But there's going to be some businesses may have to lose some weight, they may have to let go of some people. But then the truth is that before you let go of people, you have to ensure that you have the right talent on board. Because like I said when I started off, excellence is what's going to set you apart. There's going to be a scramble for talent. So if you are the best, or you are very good at what you do, you're definitely going to have a seat. If you're just ordinary and really they don't really feel your impact in your company, then you may want to review, maybe take a few courses online this period so that you can upskill. Because in the workplace of the future, there's going to be limited resources, and every company is going to try as much as possible to let go of dead weight and work with the best talents that they have around in their field, just so that they can grow their business. Things will definitely at some point stabilize, and there will be there will still be the need to hire and upscale the staff strength at some point. But then that would also mean that there will be some idle time for people who have lost their jobs. So my advice would be that as much as possible, for those that are gainfully employed at this time, try as much as possible to add value to yourself. Make sure that you have one or two skills that you've picked up at this time. Read a few books, add value to yourself basically, and it will be worth your while when you get back to the workplace.
Wow, that's quite huge. That's quite huge. That's quite huge and profound. Some things here you've said are very, very profound. Let me just my notes is I have about 2 or 3 pages already. As you were talking, I was writing and all of that.
But I would like to just touch on 1 or 2 things very briefly, and
okay.
It's very interesting. So, according to the World Economic Forum, especially for people who are currently working and probably looking out for jobs, the desired skills of the future, and this is as at 2020, would be that they'll be looking out for employees who have complex problem-solving abilities, who are good at critical thinking, creativity, people management, emotional intelligence, coordinating with others, okay, service orientation, negotiation, and cognitive flexibility. Now, what this means is that when I look at all these functionalities in themselves, for me, it can all be, encapsulated into one thing. In the workplace of the future, leadership skills will be very important, because all these things in themselves are important virtues that every individual should have. So we are going to be moving from a place of, being an
Please, David, before you go further, I need you to just state those. World Economic, what do you call it again? Forum.
World Economic Forum, yes. So
you spoke about complex okay.
Problem solving, yeah.
I need to just recap before you.
Okay, so like I said, according to the World Economic Forum, and this is their own thoughts around where the workplace would be, come 2020 and beyond. The key skill sets that will be required: complex problem solving abilities, critical thinking. So you have creativity, people management, coordinating with others, emotional intelligence, judgment and decision making, service orientation, negotiation, and also cognitive flexibility. So basically, these are the things that employers will be looking out for. And as a company, one of the key things that Jobberman has been doing, ever since its inception, is trying to solve problems, especially for job seekers. And starting from the 4th of May, we're going to be having free webinars that will touch on a few of these topics. So I'm happy to share the program outline with you.
I'll be glad to have you.
So as many people that want to join these webinars, it's going to be online on Zoom, and you can join any class and just have a free lecture on some of these areas. I think it's very important at this time that you build that build that skill of yours, add value to yourself, and that will definitely secure a place for you in the workplace of the future. A lot of the time, people reach so last weekend, I had a talk elsewhere in my local church, and one of the questions that came was the fact that how do I secure my job even at this point in time? And I said that the only way you can actually secure your job at this point in time is to ensure that you are bringing something extra to the table, especially to your organization. So the moment you are not able to bring an additional value to the place you work, it means that your job will be under threat, because we are going to move away from you just having a particular job function to you being flexible to think and to do things outside of your normal day-to-day work. So you may be asked to do certain tasks that you've not been used to before, but because there's a need in that particular department or unit, you may be asked to support. And you being able to do something extra, you being able to to do those extra tasks will be what will make you a valuable asset to your organization. So I think it's very important, that people learn additional skills at this time.
Yeah, so apparently the days of being monolithic is just over. Being this is I can do one thing better than any other person. Those days are over, completely over.
Yes. Sure.
So it's not a function of I'm an expert in this. So you must be able to do quite a lot of things.
Sure, certainly. So if I continue, based on what I was saying earlier on, so we know that there's a lockdown currently, and by the time organizations get back to work, there will be a case of prioritizing needs or prioritizing objectives at the point at the point of resumption. So we may find out that for people who have made job applications prior to now and have probably started off interview processes, we may see that the process may get longer, maybe because the organization has to review its objectives to know whether it wants to continue on certain projects or whether it wants to put a pause on certain other projects. We may even find that some jobs may be on hold for a period of time. So while those jobs are on hold or while the interview process is taking longer, try as much as possible to still keep adding value to yourself. Don't get frustrated at the wait. Prepare your mind that the hiring process may be longer than before, and in some cases it may actually come off to be very fast because they would need you to resume ASAP. So whatever the case may be for you, just have that mindset that you should be able to prepare for the future, whether it takes longer or whether it takes shorter. Then also, another thing that is very important is the fact that you need to be able to develop context and stories around your experience, and also showcase your skills using past experiences and stories. And because and I would like to use this analogy because this is like a Christian forum. If you look at the life of David in the Bible, when David was to face Goliath, and I would like to say that facing Goliath is like going for a job interview that you really don't know what to expect. They asked him that, David, you don't have any experience at all. Why, King Saul was like, why would you try and face this man? This guy has been a warrior from the days of his youth, and you're just a boy. David was a shepherd. You understand? He looked
Yeah,
down at
shepherd
him.
boy.
Exactly. But guess what? David turned around that situation and said that, you know what, when I was a shepherd, in that my small shepherd, that those my sheep I was managing, when the lion came, I killed it with a stick. When the bear came, I killed it with a stick. So now, what does that tell you? It tells you that you have to be able to tell a story about your experience, no matter how, irrelevant you may think it is. Think about it. Bring out bring out a story from all the things you've learned so far in your life. For you to be able to sell yourself better in front of that interviewer, so that when they have gone, when you've left there, they'll be like, "Wow, that guy said he gave us a very interesting story." You actually need to sell yourself properly. So usually they say the star approach. If you look at that story very well in the book of First Samuel chapter 17, David actually used the star approach. He gave them his scenario. He said, "When I was a shepherd boy, that was the situation there." The task was that he was taking care of his father's sheep, and then what happened? A bear came. That was what did he do as an action? He took a stick and went after the bear, and the result was that he killed the bear. Now use that same scenario, use that same thing to actually tell yourself that with all the things I've been doing at home, all the businesses I tried to start off that didn't work out, and those that worked out, those job experiences I had, tell a very interesting story to
Yes, so certainly I must be able to tell my own story.
Of course, because
like
storytelling
I
is
am
also
selling myself. A closed mouth is a closed destiny.
Of course.
So delivery is important. One must be able to know how to communicate yourself.
Deliver it in a very convincing way, because you're going to have only one shot at it. Because the truth is
only one shot.
The job market is going to be very competitive, bro. Very competitive. And the truth is this: if you cannot distinguish yourself by selling yourself at the first instance, you may never have the opportunity again. You only have one opportunity. So put out your best foot now. Do the message. Think about your life. Come up with that skill.
I was listening to a program. Sorry to interject you. I was listening to a program recently, and somebody said it was talking about online presence and all of that, developing your content. He said you must be always online. You must be relevant within your space almost all the time, because it's such a large space that if you slip off, you will be forgotten.
Of course.
So that also buttress the fact that it's going to be highly competitive after now. So telling your story the best way is key.
Yes. And then what I also like to add is the fact that when I started off with saying that excellence is very important. I would like to also say that excellence is not a destination. Excellence is a continuous journey. So no matter how it is, at every point in time, you have to keep improving yourself. So you have to keep, adding value to yourself and coming up with new ideas, new strategies for you to stay at the top, because it can get you, by whatever means you may get to the top. But if you lack the excellence, you will fall from that top very easily, because there are so many people that want that same position that you are sitting on. So as much as possible, get, whatever experience, whatever thing that would make you, excel and do well at what you're doing. Gather that skill now, so that you still have a place in the workplace of the future.
What you said just remind me when I was still in school of architecture. Some of us, quite a number of my folks at that time in school, they boasted about being the best drafter, of the year. You can draft, and drafting. But I just knew something was going to happen, and at that time, AutoCAD had started, but not as common as it is now. So some of us in year two, we started learning AutoCAD in school, even though we're not allowed to use it to do anything. But we were certain that after school, nobody is going to engage you to come and draft. So, at that time, you could be you could be the best. So there were guys that were the best in hand drafting, but after school, they were not relevant anymore, because no architecture firm around, except if you want to stay in the village and practice. Village. And just work with the draftman. So you still have those drawing board and all of that. But now, in fact, the world in my industry, it has gone beyond AutoCAD now. You have Revit, you have BIM, that's the future. So, it's correct to say, like you said, I agree with you completely that just being excellent at what you do now is just the beginning.
Yes. Yes.
So skill update is an
Yeah.
everyday thing.
Yeah, it's very important. I mean, look out for the new innovations and new technology in your chosen field. Try and read about them. Try and get your hands, even if it's to try some of them out for free, try and get interested in them, get excited about it, because, you never know when that knowledge will pay off. Even having the slightest knowledge about how it's done would be something that can actually set you apart. It's just like, say, for example, there's a new tech that has come out, and you know that, okay, you went online and you read about it and you saw how it was used online. You've never had the chance to actually, get your hands on it and actually try it out. But because the opportunity has presented itself, other people may look at that particular technology as, wow, oh, this is the first time I'm seeing it. But because you've had some experience online about that same technology, you will take it and be like, oh yeah, this is what it does, this is what it does. And all of a sudden, everybody in the room looks at you like, wow, that guy is a genius. But guess what? It was just that few minutes of you actually taking the time to actually explore and know about that technology. That was what set you apart at that point in time. So I think it's very important that you look into the latest technological advances in your chosen field, and even maybe outside of it. Maybe look down the value chain as well. Look at what is going on, to help your business. So one of the challenges I see is the fact that a lot of these big manufacturing companies in Nigeria currently, even in as much as they're producing fast-moving consumer goods, prior to now, they had distributors who actually used to move their goods around for them. They depended solely on that kind of road to market strategy, where they have big warehouses owned by distributors who buy their products and stock for them and sell to smaller bits of retailers. Now you find out that these manufacturers themselves will now begin to think, can we explore the technology option where we can, start reaching the market directly? Because at this point in time, it's better for you to have a supply chain that gets to the house of your consumer than for you to have it go to a warehouse, because the cost of you transporting it to the warehouse and also the risk involved with you exposing your personnel and exposing your whole organization to that risk, it's something that you want to shy away from. So the best will be to explore, technological advances that can actually help you reach your distributors or your consumers directly. So I think at this point in time, it's very important that they review their strategy when it comes to that as well. And this can also, you don't have to be a big organization to think about this. Even as smaller businesses, you can actually begin to think, think about how this whole lockdown has affected your business. Could you have done something different? Is this the only time we would have to experience it? I mean, this is not the first time this is happening. It's just that this is the first time in our lifetime, and in this recent generation, that it's happening. So
Yeah.
It has happened before. So the truth is, we know that after it happens, business may not return to business as usual. It's
It is
definitely
not. It's the new. It is the new normal.
it's going to be the new normal. So how is this also going to even affect?
Somebody is asking a question though. I don't know if
Yeah.
you can take it now
Okay.
or I should just. Okay.
Yeah.
He
Sure.
said, I don't know, he or she, I don't know. Said, asking actually,
Yeah.
how strategic
The way
do
we
I
should
need
be.
to be in picking a
Yeah.
skills? And then his point is, some skills seems to be dormant.
Okay. So I think for me personally, it will be start from skills that are closer to your strengths and your skills that you're passionate about. So things that are of interest to you will be very important, for you to, develop those skills or develop skills around those areas, because originally those were there. If you love something and you like something so much, you wouldn't allow it go dormant. So the moment you have skills that are already dormant, it means that you're not really inclined to those areas. So I would say focus on, growing and developing yourself in areas that matter most to you as a person, that gives you
Okay.
greater level of satisfaction. Um, Start from there, and then maybe begin to gradually work your way down. And you will find out that by the time you're actually even done learning those new skills, picking up the dormant ones won't be a problem, because you've developed the discipline that you need to learn the new skill. Because learning a skill is discipline that is important. So by the time you say, okay, I'm not enjoying this, but because I built the routine of spending 2 hours a day trying to develop this skill, um, even doing it for a boring course would seem easy, So start from skills that you're passionate about, things that you're passionate about. Develop skills in those areas, and look out for the technological advancements in those areas too as well.
All right.
Because it can help you a lot personally.
Okay. All right. I believe you've answered that question, and the person should be satisfied. I want to assume so.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were saying something before I interjected you with that question.
Oh, where was I know I've been saying a lot of different things. Anyways,
you said quite a lot of things. Quite a lot of
okay,
things.
So how would this whole COVID affect businesses? I mentioned about they need to have some form of online presence. I think businesses in Nigeria will begin to review the way they see working from home. People believe that when they say you're working from home, you're actually just faffing around at home. But the truth is that
I think it's
working
the
from home
perspective must have changed now for some
must
companies.
have changed, exactly, because it's easy to
Yes.
sit outside of the box and say that, oh, anybody that's working out from home is just faffing. Working from home is actually a very difficult thing to do. Why? Because in Nigeria is a very peculiar environment, because working from home in Nigeria will mean that you need to have constant power supply. You need to have what internet that works. You need to have an environment that is 100% conducive. But you see, once the light goes off, internet at some point will go off. Every other thing
Certainly.
will heat will take its toll. The environment will take its toll on you. So it makes it very uncomfortable to work. So I think in the workplace of the future, we need to consider the fact that even at the fact that we're saying that people need to work remotely from home, it's not 100%. It's actually a lot of work working from home. That's basically what it is, because you have to deal with certain things that you are not used to. In the office, you know that you're coming to a place where there's electricity, the internet works, the environment is pretty sane. That you don't have children running around the house, you don't have distractions, you can focus on work. But you see, you know you don't have that luxury. When you're working from home, anything can happen at any point in time. So businesses need to, and also looking at the positive side, companies will not need to spend so much having big offices and big buildings if they know that people can actually work from home. So they just keep essential staff in-house and then work remotely for those that don't. I was going to say that, this period more than ever before, we are now saying that, the way we see banking as a service needs to change, because I have a lot of banker friends who all of a sudden in this period they've become, very free and they are less busy. They've been, pretty much idle for for about a month now since the lockdown. Why? Because, the way they were structured, they always had to go into work every day to actually get work done. So that in the offices they have like desktop computers, monitors, and all that. With that kind of system in place, you cannot encourage people to take work home. So they always have to come into the office. And then again, you now have to look at the security infrastructure behind what they do. So is there a world where we create platforms that can operate remotely but are still secure? I'm sure you must have realized that banks are now sending out messages, oh, more than ever before, be careful, the risk of internet fraud is going to increase and all that. Why? Because people are working remotely. I mean, what has really changed? Is it the fact that we are at home now, or our people are idle and spend more time trying to, hack into their softwares and systems? I really don't know the rationale behind it. If the platforms themselves were secure from the beginning, that shouldn't be a problem. So I think it's going to
Well,
this
I
whole thing is
think I want to believe that this season, of course, the new normal we have is going to come with its own pros and its own cons. Anyway,
yes. Yes.
We talk about people protecting their intellectual property, because quite a number of things will now go online. How do you secure that? So there will be a lot of adjustment, in our everyday life, the way we do things, and
that
all
also
of that
brings,
in the coming days.
yes.
I'm certain that we will get to all of those things in the course of time.
Yes.
This adjustment of a new life, we will get to that gradually as the day passes by. Certainly, in fact, my perspective to work from home is this. I feel that in the coming days, people will no longer sincerely need to go to work Monday to Friday anymore.
True.
Maybe some will have to take some days off work,
Yes.
which is also now important for people to get skills in other areas, because you may then now have, even though you still have a job, but you may have, if you are very skillful,
yes,
you may then have, a lot of time with you, because you might not need to go to work every day. So that means you might have some time. So then what do you do with those time? So
yes.
The days of taking two jobs now is very close for some people.
Fantastic. And that will
Very,
give
very, very, very close.
multiple streams of income. So I think,
Yeah.
all that is also very important.
So I think you said so much, David.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having
me. Okay, there's a question here. Somebody is asking, what is the best platform or social media platform that you can advise for someone that is seeking a job?
Of course, it's Jobberman.com. So the truth is, we actually have. So over the past 1 month, we've listed, like, we've posted about 1,000 jobs. These are jobs that are live. Either the employers are currently actively engaging and looking out for those positions. So if you visit our website, you would see jobs that are actually live and recent. So you may want to explore that option. Then also, if you feel that you need to develop your skills, I know I mentioned it, I would like to mention it again. For those people that, are looking to take courses on emotional intelligence, cognitive and all ability and all that, we have so many courses coming up, free webinars coming up next week, starting on
just for free. It's free.
For free. All you need to do is register. I'll be sharing the details of that with Pastor Tolu Ige as soon as we're done with this call, so you can put it up and send it to all those that join the call. So yes, look at your CV, rewrite your CV if you have to, and then prepare for interviews too. Have the mindset that you're gonna get something out of it. You have to be positive. I would like to also add the fact that we cannot look at these times and be afraid. One of the things we have as children of God is the fact that we have boldness. The Bible says that God has given us His Spirit. He hasn't given us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of boldness. So we need to be bold at this point in time. We need to know that whatever the outcome of this, we are going to come out at the top, because the Bible says in Romans 8:28 that all things work together for good to them that love God, are called according to His purpose. So no matter what the situation is currently, know that whatever happens, you're going to be good, and then also now take active steps to ensure that that outcome is what you're looking out for. Okay.
I also want to reemphasize, skill acquisition, upgrading your skills. And I want to take a text from the Bible, Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 10. It says, it is not wise for someone to continue to use a dull axe. That it takes a lot of energy to get things done.
Yes.
Get wisdom and sharpen the axe. So a constant sharpening of, and I'm glad about, the David that you cited earlier on in our discussion. The Bible says that, and David led the people. So leadership. So everyone should see him or herself as a leader. So
yes,
it's important now. The days of mediocrity, those days are long gone forever. Bible says that David led the people with the skills of his hands and the integrity of his heart. That talks about character, and which you've mentioned earlier on about. You said something about work. Let me check my notes. People management.
People management.
You know, creativity. Ability to solve problems and complex problems, and emotional intelligence. Those are they are they have to do with our character, the way we relate with people and things around us. So the integrity of our heart is key at this time. We need to work on our attitudes, the way we relate with people, the way we handle things. Our emotions, are very, very important. Very important. David, we've been talking for more than 15 minutes now.
I know. But one of the things I would like to mention, even at this point in time, is the fact that, a lot of us, we now need to revisit the way we've handled certain relationships. And one of the relationships that is very important and how it would really impact, on us over the next few months is our relationship with God and our relationship with Christ. I think, we need to reevaluate that place of fellowship. And if you're probably listening to this live webcast, it will be important for you to ask yourself, are you still in good standing with Christ? Do you still have him as your friend? Is he someone that you relate with on a daily basis? The Bible says that he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. You cannot claim to be under the shadow of somebody when you're not close to the person. So it's important that you gain that closeness with Christ himself, because he is the one that is going to give you the grace. Because guess what? You may have all these abilities and skills that I've mentioned, but you see, if you lack the character of Christ, you may get to the top and then you make a mess of yourself and you will fall.
That would be a big fall.
Yes, that would be a big fall. And that's the greatest thing that we advantage that we have as Christians. We need to understand that our lives are supposed to be examples, or are supposed to be role models. People are meant to see us as a light, especially at this point in time, as a source of hope and joy and boldness. So it's important that we evaluate our relationship with God. And if you are listening and you're not born again, you may want to take that decision at this point in time. Pray and ask God to forgive you your sins. Ask him that, he will come into your life afresh. Ask him that and confess that you believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God and he's the one that is going to help you through this next phase of your life. And I believe that even as you make these prayers and, start to build that place of constant fellowship, that God himself will minister to you, and he will also set you on the right path. He will even begin to direct you. Because one of the things, if you go for any leadership course around the world, one of the things they say is that for you to actually be a leader, it starts from within. You have to be a leader of yourself first. Because the moment you can lead yourself, then you can lead others. So it comes from a place of discipline. Jesus Christ, for example, he spent close to 30 years of his life under developing himself before he actually did 3 years of ministry and he left. So all his life he was developing himself. So as individuals, we're meant to work on ourselves as our character, and God is the only one that can give us that good character. Jesus Christ is the only leader that we need to also emulate at this point in time. And I think that will be what would set us apart, especially in the workplace of the future, because you cannot learn integrity and character in school
outside Jesus.
Outside of Jesus. So
of course, Jesus said, take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Yoke is a partnership thing. So Jesus is saying, to someone today, come and walk with me and come and learn from me. Okay, we have 4 minutes left, and so we have to close now.
Thank you very much, Pastor Tolu, and your family and your wife. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. Thank you to the Fountain of Life Grace Family Church. God bless you, and God will continue to use you mightily, even at this time.
Amen. Amen. David, thank you so much for honoring us. I pray that the Lord will honor you. We cannot thank you enough for this time that you've spent with us. I am certain that your time is precious to you, and you've dedicated an hour of your day with us. Just talking about what we need to do now, such that we can have a better tomorrow. Thank you so much. I look forward to meeting you in person. I'll still talk to you.
Same here.
Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you
Bye.
very much. God bless you. Thank you for having me. Have a blessed day.
All right. This series continues tomorrow. Tomorrow we have two sessions. We have 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. tomorrow. I hope you have been blessed. Thank you so much for tuning in today. My name is Tolulope, and I'm a pastor at the Fountain of Life Church, the Grace Family. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow.